So here's a stat about Michigan that hardly anyone outside the state knows. 90% of the population of Michigan lives within 90 minutes of Lansing. You heard that right, 90% of 10 million people live within 90 minutes of Lansing. So it's not 90 miles, 90 minutes. So in this episode, I'm gonna be talking with you about 6 different areas. 5 of them are gonna be within that 90-minute range within Lansing, including Lansing, and then also talk about another city within Michigan that's outside of here, but is one of the more popular ones. Hopefully, at the end of this episode, you'll have an idea of where you should actually live. So this 90-minute circle, what I'm talking about, I just want you to picture it. From Lansing, you're about an hour away from Ann Arbor. You're roughly 75 minutes, depending on what side of Lansing you're at, to Grand Rapids. Then somewhere around 80 minutes to Kalamazoo. Then you got about 90 minutes, depending on what suburb you're at. But if you're going to downtown Detroit, you've got about 90 minutes to Detroit. It's under an hour to Flint. I'm not featuring Flint in this. And then around 75 minutes to Saginaw. So you draw that circle on a map, the 90-minute circle. And for some of you, you might be flexible on where you could live because maybe you're just looking to move to Michigan because you feel that the affordability is a lot less within the state of Michigan. You might not be dead set or sold on Lansing. You maybe have been watching my videos and you say to yourself, you know, okay, it's great that this guy talks about Lansing, but I'm not entirely 100% sold, and that's completely fine. I am a realtor in the greater Lansing, Michigan area. I do help people from all over the country, even within the state. I help them make a smooth move here. And if you're looking to move here or you're looking to move elsewhere, I do have referrals of agents that I could send you to. Feel free to contact me. All my contact information is in the description below. I would love to talk with you anytime. And also, if you haven't, please subscribe to my channel because I address not only things about Michigan, but things about the greater Lansing, Michigan area. You're not gonna wanna miss those new episodes. We come out with new episodes once or twice a week. So again, I'm gonna be tackling these 6 different areas, and 5 of them are within 90 minutes of Lansing and are some of the largest cities and the more popular cities that I hear about that people are saying they want to relocate to. And before I get into the cities, I do want to let you know, like I told you earlier, I'm a realtor in this area. And I think for a lot of you, you're going to be like, well, of course you're going to say Lansing, Lansing, Lansing. And I will have a section about Lansing, like what makes that place unique. But at the end of the day, you got to choose where you want to live and where you're going to be most comfortable. And Michigan has a lot of beautiful places. I love the state of Michigan. I think it's great. I think it's very unique. Josh and Jace, who are British TikTok stars, they did a 3-week tour just throughout the state of Michigan because they loved it so much the first time they came here. So Michigan is a very unique state, and I wanted to be able to feature not just Lansing, but some of the other cities so that you could maybe start thinking like, hey, maybe Lansing might not be the place for you. So this is gonna be a very honest perspective to you. I don't wanna just tell you Lansing, Lansing, Lansing. You gotta go to the place that's gonna be best for you and your family. So the first place I'm gonna be highlighting is Detroit. Detroit is obviously one of the most popular ones. In fact, a lot of people think that the capital of Michigan is Detroit. They don't think it's Lansing. But Detroit, if you are coming from Chicago, Dallas, and New York, and you love the big city life, that you absolutely love living in the city, then Detroit's gonna be the place for you because Detroit has professional basketball team, football team, they have a hockey team. Those are all within walking distance. They have a more vibrant downtown than what they used to. Detroit went through a really rough patch for about a good 4 or 5 years because they are known as the hub for the auto industry. They are making a turn for the better, and they have seen a little bit of growth. In fact, the city of Detroit went up about 7,000 people. That's a good thing. And they have about 700,000 people in the city of Detroit. The metro area, all the suburbs, is about 4.3 million. So to give you some perspective, Lansing, and I'm gonna feature Lansing here later, but that's about 112,000 people. When I do my videos for here, we are about a metro area of 500,000 people. So the metro Detroit area, a lot larger than the area that I cover. So it's 4.3 million, but the average home price in the inner city of Detroit is around $100,000. Now that figure is a little misleading because that is in inner city of Detroit. You go to the suburbs, do your research of some of the suburbs like Auburn Hills, like Troy, like Novi. I mean, there's a lot of different suburbs within Detroit. But the city of Detroit, $100,000 for the median home price this year. Again, they gained about 7,000 people. That's showing good growth. They are bringing a GM plant to be the worldwide headquarters in Detroit, so that's huge. There's just good things that are happening in Detroit compared to like what happened 10 or 15 years ago. You are gonna be more on the eastern side of the state as well, so depending on where your family is and stuff like that, if you have maybe family in Ohio, you're gonna be super close to being able to get to Ohio. You're within like an hour or less of some major cities in Ohio towards the northern part. So the one thing about Detroit is when you do move there, your property taxes are going to be the highest in the state, and also your auto insurance is going to be significantly higher because you're in a more populated area. And I do talk about auto insurance in other videos. The state of Michigan, just overall, because we are a no-fault state and because we offer unlimited medical coverage to people, it's an option that they can have. Being in an auto accident, our insurance just becomes a lot higher for that. So Detroit is the highest in the state, and also the highest Detroit city for property taxes. So even though it's $100,000 for the average home price, like I said, it is a little misleading. But if you're wanting the big city life, you want to have that feel because you like it, Detroit could definitely be the place for you. They just got the most traffic in a state that really doesn't, I feel, doesn't have a whole lot of horrible traffic compared to some of the major cities. So that's Detroit. So let me get to number 2, which is Ann Arbor. I'm going to be featuring Ann Arbor, and those of you who are Spartan fans, you're going, boo, I don't want to hear this, those Wolverines. Yes, Ann Arbor is the rival of the East Lansing, Michigan State University Spartans. So you got the Wolverines in Ann Arbor, and it is a huge college town. That's what runs a lot of the population there. In fact, the population in Ann Arbor is about 123,000. Ann Arbor makes up a lot of 𝐷 County, and 𝐷 County is about 375,000 people. The one thing that also Ann Arbor has is they have a huge healthcare system. In fact, the healthcare system came to Lansing, kind of bought out our Sparrow Hospital that we have, and now it's University of Michigan. It was University of Michigan Sparrow, now it's just University of Michigan Hospital. They have a huge presence there. And the healthcare industry, the university, that is a huge driver. The average home price in Ann Arbor, though, is $485,000. Wow, that is a lot higher than a lot of the median home prices within the 90 minutes of Lansing. We're gonna get into one that is a little bit higher, but that's also not within the 90 minutes. Maybe you can guess it before I even say it. But they do have an arts festival, like it's a world-renowned arts festival that happens every single year. Mobs of people come into the area. Of course, with Michigan Wolverines having a great football and basketball season within the recent years, that has driven a lot of people to go there. So you're gonna have more of a university type town. You're gonna have more diversity there because people are coming internationally to be able to take jobs within the Ann Arbor area. If you have the budget for it because you know that your housing is going to be a little bit higher, you want to be close to university, you want to be close to a vibrant university, or maybe potentially you're a doctor and you want to be right there in the hub where they have the University of Michigan healthcare system, this could definitely be a place for you. But there are plenty of other places besides Ann Arbor, and I'm sure a lot of Spartan fans would agree and say that there are a lot of better places than Ann Arbor. So let's get to the third city right now before you guys start fighting me over here. So number 3 city is Grand Rapids. And Grand Rapids is 70 minutes west of Lansing, depending on where you live. It's the second most known city within Michigan. Population of Grand Rapids City is just about 200,000 people, just about 200,000, but the greater metro area, it's around 1.1 million. It's definitely a fast-growing area. Real estate moves incredibly fast within Grand Rapids. Homes sit on the market for about 6 days, so if you're looking to make a move, Grand Rapids is gonna be the hottest market, more than likely, that you're gonna have to be able to compete at, pay a high dollar for it. The average price in Grand Rapids City is $300,000, but I'm sure it's a lot higher when you go to some of the suburbs and some of the more popular areas. I kind of call Grand Rapids the just right of the 3 bears. What do I mean by that? So it's almost like people are trying to get a feel for Michigan, and go and they go to Detroit and they're like, this place feels too big, you know, and then they go to maybe like Lansing and they're like, this place feels too small. And then they go to Grand Rapids and they're like, this one is in between. It feels just right. And Grand Rapids has a very vibrant downtown scene with restaurants, bars, main concert events that happen at Van Andel Arena. I just went to go see Nate Bargatze. In fact, I've seen Nate Bargatze twice at Van Andel Arena. They have Trans-Siberian Orchestra that comes every single year. They've had Pentatonics come for Christmas. They have a lot of the major concert events, maybe not as like large as like, you know, major city events like Detroit would have those, but like Van Andel still brings some pretty big acts to downtown that drives a lot of people to the downtown area. So they have, it seems like they have more things, they have more pockets, just a very up and coming city. But the downer with it, like even though you're about 30, 40 minutes away from Lake Michigan and you're right there during the summer, it's perfect, it's great. You feel like you have easy access to the lake. The one thing that is extremely rough is during the winter time, and I've even heard it from people who watch this channel who have come from Grand Rapids, said that the snow is, especially this past winter, was horrible. You just have a lot more snowstorms because you are closer to the lake, you have the lake effect. Being towards the middle or towards the eastern part of the state where Detroit and Arbor, Lansing are, it's not gonna be nearly as bad. So again, the average days on market, about 6 days on market within Grand Rapids. So you're gonna have a very vibrant area that's growing, that might be that happy in between. It still could be too big for some of you though, and you might not love the winters over there. So you're gonna have 6 great months, and then maybe for 6 other months you're gonna be like, I feel like I can't travel because I'm too scared to drive on the roads. So pros and cons, you gotta kind of weigh it out, right? The next thing, or the next area I wanna feature is Kalamazoo. And Kalamazoo is about 50 miles south of Grand Rapids. It's about 80 minutes away from Lansing. It's gonna be one of the smaller areas. It's definitely smaller than Lansing is. So the population of Kalamazoo City is around 73,000 people. The metro area is around 260,000 people. And then when you look at home prices there, the median price is around $210,000 within Kalamazoo City, but that's up nearly 9% year over year. In fact, out of all these cities that I'm talking about, as far as like the city median prices, Kalamazoo has the highest appreciation. I don't necessarily know why, maybe because they figure like, hey, it's a happy medium to be between, like be a little closer to Chicago maybe, because Kalamazoo is probably about a couple hours just away from Chicago, and people like that. They have easy highway access. I'm not necessarily sure why Kalamazoo has the higher appreciation, but they are one of the smaller ones. And they have Western Michigan University, much smaller than Michigan State or Michigan, University of Michigan. The one thing that makes the place unique, they do have a vibrant art scene. They have a vibrant music scene within the downtown. So it is a little bit artsy, but I kind of feel like whenever you're in a college town, you have more of an artsy scene. You have that even in East Lansing, within Lansing. It just depends on where you go. But they have a thing known as the Kalamazoo Promise. And the Kalamazoo Promise is that if your child goes through the Kalamazoo public school system, and they have to go for a certain amount of years, and they graduate from the Kalamazoo public school system, they will get 100% tuition free to 60 colleges within Michigan. There's an anonymous donor that's been giving it for like the last 25 years. I feel that's a pretty sweet deal. That could be something that you hear like, hey, maybe I want to move to Kalamazoo because my kid, if they go through the schools there, the public schools, they're gonna get free tuition. That's gonna be a lot of money saved. And that can be a big driving factor for people moving to Kalamazoo as well. So I don't know if you are aware of that, if that's a driver for you, but that is definitely a very unique thing. They do have a smaller job market, so that's the thing. Like you're moving there, like you would have to have a job that would bring you there, or maybe like a remote job could make it a little more flexible for you to be able to feel like, hey, why am I moving to Kalamazoo? Because they don't really have, like with some of these other areas I'm talking about, they don't really have like a hub that brings tons of people there. Also, the winters can be a little bit worse than Lansing. maybe about as bad as like what Grand Rapids would be, because you are further west and you're just directly south of Grand Rapids. So just be aware that the winters there as well are going to be pretty brutal and a lot of lake effect snow. The next one, this is kind of the one that's going to be outside that 90 minutes, is going to be Traverse City. Traverse City. This is going to be the smallest out of all the ones that I've talked about. It's towards the northern part of Michigan, and people love to be able to go there for the beautiful wineries that are there. They have the Cherry Festival there. They bring so much tourism because of all the beauty and with this access to the Great Lakes. The first thing though is that this is going to be the smallest place. It's 3 hours north of Lansing. So that's how long it takes to be able to get to Traverse City. And it's about 15,700 people. That's how much Traverse City is, 15,700. The county, Grand Traverse County, is just under 100,000. So that's why we say the 90% lives within 90 minutes, because of the 10 million people that live in Michigan. There's under 100,000 people in Grand Traverse County, and some of these other outlying areas don't have as many people within them. Like the Traverse City area is a huge tourism area, so it feels like it's so mobbed during the summer months especially, because it just brings a lot of tourists. So it's a place for a second home for a lot of people. The average home price is $437,000. So $437,000. So I did misspeak a little bit, because in the beginning I said it was the highest. It's actually the second highest from all of these, because the Ann Arbor one was the highest. So Traverse, second highest though, 437,000. Homes take a little bit longer to sell there, so the market does move a little bit slower. It's not as fast paced. You have the Sleeping Bear Dunes there. You have lakes. It's a different way of life. Things are a little bit more spread out. Pace is a little bit slower. It could definitely be the right vibe for you. It's just, you're gonna be away from a lot of things. You're gonna see more of the touristy things during the summer. And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. You might wanna be closer to some of the big city things. And Traverse City, they have a mall, they have restaurants. I'm not saying there's absolutely nothing up there, but if you're wanting a little bit more of that big city life and lots of places to be able to go to on the weekend, you are gonna feel a little bit more secluded in Traverse City, and especially during the winter time, you're gonna get the most snow there. And it's gonna be colder during the summertime. Again, just depends on what your preference is. The sixth place I'm gonna talk about, of course, I need to talk about Lansing. And before you guys sit here and think that I'm gonna tell you Lansing's the absolute best and you gotta move here, I'm really going to try to not do that here, because I'm trying to mention the other, that there are plenty of great cities within Michigan. Yes, I'm here to help people relocate to Lansing, but what are the things that Lansing has? Well, Lansing's a city of about 110,000 people within the Lansing city limits. The average home price in Lansing City is $150,000, but that does not take into account the other suburbs that we have, like Okemos, East Lansing, Hazlitt, Grand Ledge. Those are gonna have much, much higher median home prices. So that 150,000 is just within Lansing city limits. We do have some of the most expensive property taxes. And here's the one thing you have to keep in mind with everything in Michigan, is that there is a tax law that if you move to Michigan and you purchase a property, every municipality or township that has the taxing authority can reassess it up to half the purchase price and make that the new taxable value. And it's only a Michigan thing, and so your taxes could go up a substantial amount. First taxable value was a lot lower than what the assessed value came back at when you purchased it. There can be a huge gap there, and so you think like, oh, the taxes are so low because of what they advertised at that time, but then they take a huge jump the year after. So Lansing's within the top 20, Lansing City, for property taxes. They do have a 1% income tax there. A lot of these city areas do have that 1% income tax, what I find, that you have to pay to the city. The thing with Lansing is that, again, you are the center of everything, because you are the capital. You have the government positions that are there. You do have healthcare there, because you have McLaren Hospital and you have the University of Michigan Hospital. And then you have insurance. There are a number of insurance hubs that are there within Lansing. Then you also have a GM plant. They're just building a Tesla plant within there for a couple years. So Lansing is bringing has some definite good stability, good jobs, and I almost forgot, Michigan State University, that is a huge employer. So you're within a college town as well, very unique. But again, property taxes are higher, your auto insurance, not as high as Detroit, but I think it might be a little bit more expensive than Kalamazoo, than Traverse City, maybe even than Ann Arbor, I'm not sure. Those of you who live in those areas, you could comment and tell me like what the auto insurance rates are, because I'm just not 100% sure. But again, Lansing could be a great central hub for you to be able to go to each of these spots, because they're all gonna be within 90 minutes. If you live in Detroit, it's gonna take you 2.5 hours to get to Grand Rapids approximately. But if you live in Lansing, all that stuff is going to, then it'll be an hour to Grand Rapids. So there is something to be said about being centrally located. It's just for some people, they still feel it's a little too small. We don't get as much snow as Grand Rapids, Traverse City, or Kalamazoo. That's a good thing. We don't have as much traffic as Detroit, or even a little bit Grand Rapids would have. For some people, they say they don't feel like Lansing has as much to do, but we are greater metro area, 500,000 people. What do you expect, right? So I hope that this was informational for you to be able to see the different pockets of Michigan, kind of hear what some of the average home prices are. And this is a very generic sort of video. So if you need more clarification on things, feel free to reach out to me anytime about this. If you are looking to relocate to a different area other than Lansing, like I said, I do have referral partners, but if you are looking to move to the greater Lansing, Michigan area, I would love to be able to talk with you about your real estate goals, and all my information's in the contact information below. And also, if you could, please give me a thumbs up on this video, just so I know that you like this content and I should continue making more content like this. Also, please subscribe to my channel so that you can be notified when brand new episodes of Lansing, Michigan Life go live. I have brand new episodes going live once or twice a week, so you're not gonna wanna miss the new episodes that continue to go live to help you out in your search. In fact, feel free to browse my 150 video library. Binge it at your disposal, like it's there for free for you to be able to watch. So this is a fun one to be able to do, just talk about the entire state. Hopefully give you some clarity on some things. And until next time, everybody, I will see you on the next episode. Take care.